Hi data lovers, my name is Angie and this is Insight Bites with Dexibit. Today we're talking about capacity as an important part of visitor management to keep your visitors safe, and specifically about attrition, which is when visitors book tickets and then don't show up. Amazingly, this problem affects just about every visitor attraction who offer advanced reservations through bookings, especially if they are timed rather than just scheduled on a day, and especially if they are free. At that point, attrition can get bad enough that more visitors fail to show up than actually turn up to the venue. We also find that although attrition is quite a variable rate, meaning it can bounce around and be one day great and the next day awful, it's usually quite predictable. And it boils down to a few common factors, some of which can be controlled, like how far in advance visitors book to come. The first trick with attrition is to know how bad the problem is and how much it's costing you in both lost visitors and lost revenue. At first glance, if your ticketed admission is paid, it looks like a good problem to have, right? People pay for a ticket and then they don't come. But what about the opportunity cost of the lost revenue of what they could have spent on site? If your average upsell on a visitor is even $10 from cafe, shop, parking, etc., and your attrition is as little as 3%, that is 300 grand a year in lost revenue for every million visit. And if that same ticket is a $30 buy, you could have made an additional 900 grand in additional ticket sales by reselling that same capacity. So that's a $1.2 million lost opportunity. Not such a good problem now, is it? Once you've analysed attrition versus redemption and taken a look at the trends and patterns and correlations underneath that are influencing your visitors' behaviours, the first option is to simply account for the problem. Issue more tickets than you have capacity for with the expectation that some won't show up. To do this, you can take a risk assessment on how many tickets you want to overage. For example, if you're cautious, you could look at the minimum rate of attrition and go with that. Or if you're a little more confident with risk, you can take a predicted value, maybe back it off a little bit to start off with, and issue additional tickets for that amount. You can also play with when you issue that overage. You can do it on initial ticket issue, or you can wait and see what bookings come in and then do it as a top-up or subsequent issue later, which might also help encourage demand through the fear of missing out. Or you can issue it as a same-day pass or walk-up capacity, depending on what works for your venue. The alternative is to work out how to decrease that attrition or no-show rate, especially if your admission is free and the extra bookings who don't show up are a hassle rather than an additional revenue. This might include tactics like reminder emails or reducing the advance window, limiting group sizes, or limiting who can book tickets how frequently. Particularly if your admission is free or free for some, like members or season pass holders, it's also worth digging around to see what's happening on the ground, as you can find some really strange visitor behavior, like people who book several slots in a week so they have options on when they can come as they feel like it. Locals or even businesses who book even lots of repeat reservations so they have some on hand all the time to share with friends or customers, or more serious issues like ticket scalping. So you might need to deploy some extra policies and inspections to control for those sorts of issues if they become a problem. That's a quick look at managing attrition versus redemption when it comes to capacity. If you and your team would benefit from capacity insights to help keep your visitors safe and happy, talk to us about Dexibit's forecasts, insights, dashboards and reports, including for capacity management. And I'll see you next time for another episode of Insight Bites, or check out Dexibit.com for more on visitor management and big data analytics for places people love.